Hey everybody, this is Kyla here from Waveflow, the mindfulness practice that creates ripples of acceptance, meaning, and appreciation. This month I'm hosting a 10 days of gratitude program in celebration of my new 31-day gratitude journaling workbook, Ripple. I was so excited to chat with my friend Meredith and hear what she's been up to after welcoming her second baby Max, to the world. Mare and her family recently moved back to the East Coast from Europe, and in this very candid conversation, we opened up about how hard it is not to check the Nanit baby monitor, all things kids and sports, and saying yes, even when there's some fear in our minds to new endeavors. Enjoy our conversation and don't forget to try on the Waveflow practice for yourself. I'll drop all of the prompts in the show notes, and I invite you to try out our free mobile app or get a copy of my workbook, Ripple, to discover layers of possibility and meaning making through a month-long commitment to the Waveflow practice. Alrighty, here's my conversation with Meredith. Hi everybody, I'm on with my friend Meredith Lorito. Mare and I got to know each other well way back in the day. We both went to Brown together and at the time played on the squash team, and we were both from the New York tri-state area. Mare, I think you grew up in Greenwich, right? Or near there?
Yes, I didn't realize that we're so back in the day now, but okay. Are we
Okay,
that
cool.
old?
It's like, there we go. And Mare also just had her second adorable baby boy, and so she's agreeing to do this with me in the throes of like, you almost have like two kids under two? What,
I
how old
did.
are
I did for a month.
Oh my gosh. So she's a trooper and I'm so excited to do Wayflow with her. Okay, we're gonna get right into it.
Awesome. I'm excited.
All right, Mare, take me to something about modern technology that you appreciate.
Something about modern technology that I appreciate. This feels like a cop out, but FaceTime is just so wonderful. I can
Mm.
go a different direction if you want, but I don't know. It just is with grandparents and with, especially having kids, I feel like people can be so present in their lives while living so far away, and it just really bridges the gap.
Oh, totally. I mean, we're the people who have my parents are like the babysitters. While I'm making breakfast, I prop my phone up on the counter and like I'm fully making breakfast and they're talking to the kids.
100%. And also they're just getting a crazy, like dizzying view of it's just like they're on a roller coaster. He grabs the phone, runs around. But I really do think you are able. I feel like I've met people's kids, even though I haven't, because if my friends have a baby and they're living elsewhere, it just really makes you still able to establish that connection, which in a way that I don't think phone calls actually are able to.
I love that. It's like, yeah, it's something I also use so often. Okay, a piece of modern technology that I appreciate. So I had a lot of resistance. So Andrew and I got a Tesla, like a electric car
Oh.
last
Mhm.
year. And leading up to us getting this car, I was like, I don't know. I don't like that can't get gas. Like I didn't want to be restricted by the inability to get gas. And so
Which is such like a construct that we've just created,
right,
right?
right. And so I had it in my head that like I would like run out of charge or whatever, and it would be really
Yeah,
inconvenient.
in a
I
way that you
have
wouldn't run out of gas.
Right. I have done a 180 on this Tesla thing. Now that we actually, because he kind of got it and spearheaded it, and he like I honestly like am not a big car person, so he owns the car vertical fully. And so we got the Tesla, and I am obsessed with it. And the best feature of this car, in my opinion, is that you don't have car keys in the traditional way and you don't lock it. So what that means is like when you're going somewhere, you get out of the car and once it's attached to like your Bluetooth on your phone. So once I get like a certain amount of feet away from the car, it just locks and I don't have to think about it. And I feel like in before I had this car, I spent so much time like digging through my like I always have like 6 water bottles, a coffee, 5 bags. Like I'm the person with like holding 4 beverages at all times. And I like now I never have to like dig my keys out of my bag, or like I'm holding the baby trying to find the keys, like dropping everything on the ground. And whoever thought of this at Tesla or wherever it was, like thank you so much, because that has really improved my day-to-day life dramatically.
It's so funny how something so little you can just
Yeah.
totally change your day.
Like truly for that feature alone, I was like converted to a Tesla like super fan.
Did you used to also have the same fear of like leaving the hair iron on, where like you didn't lock the car, where you just like have to go back and do it or like not think about it?
So the hair straightener, it's funny because one of my roommates had that in college, like really, really aggressively. But my thing was always with the oven. Like I was always like setting
Yeah.
the oven on, and I would like run back, and like the oven was obviously off. Like I always turned it off, but I would always be like, "Is the oven off?" Like I was that person.
Now you never have to think about it with your car.
I know
That
it's
actually does sound really nice, but I would be really nervous of like, I don't know, when I'm getting both kids out of the car or something, and what if it locks and then malfunctions and then they're locked in there? Like, is that even possible?
the the only downside is like let's say you like bring the kids in the house and then you have to go back and get like the groceries or something.
Mm.
You have to have your phone on you because like
Mm-hmm.
the car is based on your phone. So like if I put my phone down, then I go back and then I'm like, oh, I forgot my phone. Now I have to go back and get the phone. So that can be like a little bit tough, but I feel like the value I get from not having to have keys overrides that slight annoyance.
Totally, because you'll always have your phone in your hand. Do you ever, are you in the camp of ever getting nervous about having your phone just like constantly on you, like right next to you when you sleep, all that stuff, or not really?
I don't I don't worry about that. My
Hmm.
mom does.
Oh,
I
really?
see though like how it would be a concern. Like I take my watch off when I sleep. My phone is like near me, but not that close to me.
What do you
Uh,
do for a monitor?
I have an old school one.
Oh, good for you.
I got rid of the Nanit because I thought it was giving me anxiety.
100%.
The
It's a
Nanit, for
blessing
anyone
and a
who doesn't have
curse.
kids, it's this like it's this phone monitor, and it also gives you like notifications, statistics. Like it has a lot of amazing features. And though, so with Graham, with my oldest, I used it. And then with Ani, I was like, I am not even installing this thing. We're getting like the 1999 sound only monitor. And now I never wake up in the middle of the night and I never stare at the Nanit, which I did all the time
Oh
with
my
Graham.
God. I'm like zooming in at 2 a.m. Like, is he breathing? Is he breathing? And
Hmm.
I'm like, I can't tell. So I'm just going to go in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to do what works for you. For me, though, I get more sleep not having it.
No, 100%. I think that's genius. I don't know if I could stop, but I do. That means I do have to sleep with my phone right
Yeah.
next to my ear.
Yeah,
So
totally.
you put like that, your sound monitor in your room, but if you're going out with a babysitter or whatever, you don't care. You don't need to check.
I give the babysitter has the sound
Yeah,
monitor.
the sound
Oh yeah,
monitor, but
so I'm
you don't care about like when you're out to dinner seeing like how's bedtime going?
no, I don't. I just am like, it's they've
Oh,
got
good for
it.
you. That would help a lot of
Yeah.
breathing anxiety for sure.
Because there's like no way you can be present in the thing. Like for me, it's like there's no way I can be present at dinner if I'm like looking at what is going on in the house. Like, you know what I mean? Then it's like,
Definitely.
why did I even leave the house?
100%.
This motherhood thing is twisted, y'all.
So twisted. Like you'll never fully deeply sleep again.
No, yeah, eventually, but no, not right now.
I don't know.
Okay. Share about somebody who taught you how to play a sport, instrument, or learn a skill.
Oh boy, this one really hits the nail on the head for us, huh? Um, Someone that taught me, and it's got to be a sport. Instruments are not happening for me. So another quite obvious, maybe cop out answer, but very true, is my mom was my squash coach growing up, who you obviously know. Um, which, she was the coach at my high school way before I was in high school. So I saw kind of all of her success leading up, and she was an amazing coach. I can't even name all of the accolades that she got, but they won every national title, blah, blah, blah. And she really did not force me into it whatsoever. I think I maybe started playing when I was like 8, but I had already been around squash for so long. I was in all the van rides, all that. So I kind of saw the more of like the culture of it. And then when I wanted to play tennis instead of squash, she didn't flinch, whatever. Um, so I think definitely her influence and ability to, be open to whatever sport I wanted, but then dial in on squash when I wanted to was really important. Also very challenging. Having your mom as your coach is not easy, especially for a high school girl. But she was so well respected that I think it was important to remember that, she had gotten there for a reason. But I made it very clear that I wanted to do my own thing during matches, but she was a good sport about it.
Wait, it was so funny when you told me that you would do this. So I'm just like going through the book and you're like, because we're doing the first 10 pages of the book,
Yeah.
and the question fell to you, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's hysterical. I was like, I didn't know like who would say yes or not. But
Yeah.
okay, so say more. I love that you're mentioning how like she didn't, obviously like you grew up around it, like
Mhm.
the people playing squash was always there, and certainly racket sports in general. And I love that she didn't like put pressure on you to do it just because it was like her thing that she loved to coach and do.
Yeah.
And how do you think about that when you think about your kids and like what hobbies and sports they might gravitate towards?
I mean, this is what Matt and I talk about all the time because for a little context, my husband was a professional hockey player. So sports are very important to both of us. And just in general, like you don't have to be amazing at a sport, but just having a team, having the grit, the mentality, the ability to, you know, get up physically when you've been knocked down, just there's just so many life lessons in sports. And that's what my husband and I do together for fun. Like we don't go out to dinner. Like if we get a babysitter, we go play tennis together. Like so sports are definitely central to us. But we've also discussed about how you can really burn a kid out or make them so uninterested in something if you're pushing it on them. So we are very aware of that and just kind of, I mean, Miles is only, my oldest is only 2, so it's obviously not pushing anything on him, but like we have all of the equipment if he wants to try it. So he'll pick up like a golf club and then a hockey stick and then shoot basketball. But we've definitely talked about how he's gonna have to, find what he likes, and we'll just lean in on that. He's really into bowling right now, which we're like, about, but if he wants to be a professional bowler, have at it.
Lucky cat strike. Go Miles.
No, seriously, we're like, of all the sports, but
That's so
you do
funny.
you.
It's interesting too because I recently watched like the Beckham documentary, and it was like
Oh, so
fascinating to
good.
watch that. Yeah, like how the dad really pushed soccer on him. It seemed
Yeah.
like that was crazy. Go out and watch that if anyone hasn't seen it. But how it's cool that like you're kind of using the like sort of freedom that your mom gave you and then like sharing that with your kids and like letting them be them. That's
But
awesome.
at the same time, which is something we've also discussed, is like there is an element of accountability where you have to push them a certain amount to be like, you signed up for this season, so like you have to go. You can't just like be too tired every day, or there's a certain amount of encouraging slash, never making them do something they don't want to do. But if they commit to a season of baseball and they decide halfway through the season they're not into it, well, you've made a commitment to a team, you know what I mean? So you have to play that fine line of um encouragement versus, you're not pushing them to do things that they don't want to do, but also making sure that they're fulfilling their promises to their team.
Totally. Yeah, it's definitely like I don't know, my kids are also super young. Like Graham's only 3 and we signed him up for soccer.
Yeah.
And we asked him like, do you want to do soccer or swimming? Because there was like options of what we could have done. And he said, yes, I want to do soccer. I mean, granted, he's
Yeah.
3. So
That day he wanted to do soccer.
like that minute, that 35 seconds. And he goes to soccer and he'll actually play soccer for like maybe 8 minutes on a good day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
but we're like, you committed to soccer, so like now we're going to soccer.
And mommy and daddy paid for soccer.
Um, okay, for me, it's funny because what the memory, and this is kind of random because it's not like I went on to play ice hockey at all, but my dad was my dad is like a passionate athlete. He played, his whole family was big into sports. And I remember from like a super young age, he would take me to like ice rinks or frozen ponds, wherever he could find them. He had me on skates super, super young. And like we would go to that Playland rink and he'd have me on a cone. And like I remember he was so excited when I got to like, he was like, you need figure skates and you need hockey skates, because he needed to make sure I could like learn on the 2 types of skates. And just like I felt like growing up, that was such a fun experience that I like associated with my dad, of like he loved hockey, so like he wanted to get me on skates, and he would always say like, you've got to know how to do this. Like for him it was like really a core thing that I had to know. And even though like I never went on to play on any hockey team and this was purely like a recreational type thing, like I looked forward to that so much because it was like special time that I got with my dad when I was a kid. Yeah, so that's like the memory that came to mind. Um, okay. We'll move to our next question. Share about a challenge recently that you can't help but laugh about.
Well, there's so many in like motherhood. Where do I even begin? Such silly ones are coming to mind. I mean, the first one that comes to mind is probably because we were just talking about little kids soccer. We host a soccer class at our house for 2-year-olds. Um, and it's just fun and like get them to run around in the backyard. And mostly for the parents to meet because we just moved here. So it's a great way to hang out. Um, and last week so half the time they like bring out the balls and the kids are all excited, and then they put the balls away and then bring out like cones because they have different stack the circle cone on the pointy cone, whatever. And my son lost it because he thought class was over and the balls were being put away, and he was so sad because he loves it. And I was trying to like parent through that and just be like, like we just have to keep going, blah, blah, blah. And I was just kind of losing that battle. So then like the soccer coach emailed me after to ask how things were going. And I'm just such an overthinker about everything, about every conversation, every interaction, whatever. Like, I loved it so much. Everyone's loving it. It's going so well. You're totally the expert. If you like are looking for feedback, I mean, if there's any way to keep the balls out longer, but like don't listen to me if that's what you guys want to do. Like just spiraling in this email, just trying to be so nice to him. And then also realizing like he is the person putting on this class and he doesn't need my 2 cents. But just the challenge of navigating these classes of 2-year-olds and keeping everyone invested, but not offending the teacher and all this stuff. I mean, it was just like so ridiculous. And I can't believe I'm talking about it now. I'm even laughing that I'm talking about it now because I kept bringing it up to my husband and he was like, can we please stop talking about soccer class? Like this could not matter less. The coach is not going to be mad at you. Like you gave him constructive feedback that the kids want the balls out longer. It's not a big deal. So yeah, that is my answer. It's so
Yeah.
silly.
Well, that's first of all, kudos to you for like taking initiative to like get a group of people together to have the kids play soccer. Because I feel like any co-parenting experience is
Oh yeah,
better than not. Like and all it takes is one person to like rally the group, even if it's just like meeting up at a playground, like, hey
totally.
guys, like we're gonna do something and like everybody is gonna leave their house. Like that, like even
Yes.
just that is like huge.
Totally. I was talking to one of the moms. I was like, we don't really even need an instructor, but it feels a little weird to invite everyone here and just like throw some balls out. So I guess we kind of do just like make everyone feel like it's a legit experience to be here. But it's so true. You can just say to a group of parents, like, let's meet at this playground at 3:30 or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, you're so right. It makes you kind of have to like create your village nowadays. Just,
totally.
everyone, families are so spread out now, and you have to like find people that you can parent with.
Totally. And it's like it's interesting too because I've noticed like so my son goes to an all-day preschool. Like he can be there the whole day and he loves it. Like in the afternoon, he's every time I pick him up when I'm like he can't see that I've gotten to the gate, he's like giggling, playing with people, like so into it. And I'm like I don't even need to like overcomplicate his schedule with all this
Mm-mm.
stuff because I'm like he just loves running around with his friends and like it makes him happy. Like and
Really.
it's almost like you're saying, they're like the kids just want to kick the balls. Like you don't
Mhm.
need to like rotate what they're doing maybe as much, but it's
Yeah,
like simplest things will bring them so much joy.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And the parents, it's funny because I just moved to Rye, which you obviously know very well. Um, And coming to a new town, I was like, oh, so many people are from here. They already have their established groups. But there's something so wonderful about having friends that are in the exact same time of life as you. And like even to the, having kids within the same 6 month range because like their nap schedule, like silly little things that just align your schedule so well. Like they're fine at eating with at 5 p.m. with you. And just kind of finding those people that make so much sense for you in that life period is so wonderful while also having your best high school friends and college friends and like never losing sight of that but having people in the same stage of life is so wonderful.
Yeah, and maybe like so part of our practice is like you share the gratitude out. So like next time you get that soccer group together, be like, guys, like so happy to have this like support group of other parents because like God knows we need it. Oh my God.
Totally.
Mine is I made Ani a smash cake. My daughter turned 1 last week, and so I make
Oh,
like the
happy birthday, by the way. I meant to say that.
yeah.
Ani.
So, but Graham helped me make the cake while Ani was napping. He helped me like we did this little like Whole Foods has this great like plant-based dye, so we made the frosting the nice color, and so we've like frosted the you know what out of this cake. It comes time after Ani's like played with it to cut the cake, and Graham, my 3-year-old toddler opinion, doesn't want the cake to be cut. I'm like, Graham,
Naturally.
everyone's getting a slice. Like this is the end of this conversation. I cut up the cake. I give a slice in front of him, Meredith. He takes the slice of cake. We're like trying to celebrate Ani's birthday, throws the slice across the room. So our house is like an open room, pink frosting all over the wall, all over all the nearby furniture, like
No.
just cake dripping down the wall. And I'm literally like, Andrew and I we were too defeated to even like react. We were
Yeah.
just like, are you for real?
Yeah.
I feel like there was one of those moments where we're like, you can't be serious right
Yeah.
now.
You
Like
can't.
just like we like I can't help but laugh about it because it's just like, oh my gosh, like this is so I don't even know. Like it's so
Oh.
unlogical.
No,
But
toddlers,
yeah,
they have no logic whatsoever.
yeah. So anyways, that was our happy birthday to Ani turned into cake. I don't know what by Graham.
Oh
Um,
my God.
Okay, we'll move to our final question. Share a way that you could poke back at fear. So something where you're like a little scared of doing it, or maybe something you've thought about that feels a little bit intimidating, but you feel like you're ready to take a baby step to poke back at whatever fear is there.
Okay, well, just an example recently was when you reached out about this podcast. I took so long to respond. Apologies. Um, but my initial reaction was kind of like, imposter syndrome a little bit. I was like, why would Kyla ask, like, this is so nice, but why would she ask me to do this? I'm like just a mom right now. I'm like so in like
Just
the
a mom. Stop that. Go back.
no, I know. It's the hardest job in the world, truly. But, you know, it's easy to fall into that mentality where um you know, you're kind of quantifying all the things that you are right now. And I am like so in the throes of early motherhood right now that I've even realized it is like my full identity right now. And I don't care or mind that at all, but that just like is who I am right now. And a lot of my conversations are around that. Clearly, every answer has been about my kids, but it's nothing to be ashamed about. It just is what is front of mind right now. So at first I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be interesting. I don't know if this is going to go well. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to disappoint you. You're creating this amazing thing. But then in a moment of weakness, I guess I just said yes and knew that I was like committing to it. And it felt really good. I was like, you know what? This is going to be great. We're going to have a great time. If worst case scenario, we have a fun conversation. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes as long as you're not doing something that feels inauthentic to yourself, sometimes just saying yes and getting yourself there creates such a wonderful space for, you know, improving or exploring something that you otherwise wouldn't have.
Okay, yes, we love a share about a present moment fear. Thank you. That was like one of my favorite ones on this podcast so far. Um, okay. Oh my God, I love that so much. For me, a way I could poke back at fear. Okay, so I'm getting like I wrote this whole draft for this workbook, Ripple, which is like what this whole thing is about. And then a couple weeks ago came the time where I had to find an editor. And something about the process of finding an editor was like it was like a hurdle for me. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna actually like ask someone to edit this. Like I need to like make sure this is like, I don't know, it's something about like bringing in the other person like
Yeah.
felt like a very big hurdle. So I like go on Upwork, I'm posting all this stuff, and then I'm like, wait a minute, like what am I doing? Like I know a bunch of editors who I used to work with. Like why am I like turning to the random people on the internet?
Did you
Like
not
what
want to ask like an acquaintance?
yeah,
Because
and I'm like, am I like scared to ask someone I know? Yes, like calling myself out on that. So I eventually reached out to a couple friends who I used to work with and one of them is now editing it and she's like editing it this week. But it's it's funny because I'm like, oh, if I'm like so afraid to do this like silly thing that is like what's the worst case? Like no one reads it. Like I'm sure my mom will read it, so someone will read it, but I'm like the it's like kind of fun to just be like, okay, screw it. Like I don't care what people think. I'm just gonna
yeah.
like do this, and if someone has an opinion about it, like at least it gave them something to talk about that week. Like we're just like whatever. But
No,
yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah, and I'm having so much fun doing it. And just in these like conversations that I've had so far, I'm like, this has been an awesome week. I've like reconnected with all these people and just
Yeah.
this lens, seen what they're up to, and it's been so much fun.
Yeah, no, I love that. It is, I totally get the fear of it being someone you know versus just reaching out. But obviously, like you should use someone that you know and you're proud of this work and you're putting it out there. And it's awesome. It is scary, but it's amazing.
Thank you, Mare, for hopping on and practicing Waveflow with us today. I have a feeling Mare's going to boomerang back around into the wellness space. So, Westchester people, just look out for that. And in the meantime, catch her at the playground or grab your copy of Ripple if you want to continue the practice with us. We'll drop all the prompts in the chat. Mare, have a great day. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, Kyla.